Hello everyone. Right now you're just watching a few rounds where I do really well but the other team ends up quitting, so I couldn't use this as a full gameplay. Anyway, a couple weeks ago I put up a video of me ranting about the Nasher and it got quite a lot of traction, to say the least. There were some great comments and a couple people who are coming after me now, but man, was it a lot of fun to hear what everyone had to say about the topic. So I figured, why not do another rant on a different topic. Today I'm just going to be talking about movement, which is another highly contentious topic in the Gears community. Just as a side note, a lot of people have asked me to make a movement tutorial, but there's already some great ones out there, so I'm not sure I could add much. If you're familiar with Dutchy Live, he's put together some outstanding movement tutorials that I think you should watch if you're looking for that kind of stuff. And I'll link his channel in the description so it's easy for you to find. What I can add are my own thoughts on misconceptions and misunderstandings that I think a lot of Gears players have when it comes to movement. But let me say this first. The movement in Gears is one of the things that I think makes this game really addictive, wall bouncing especially. You can pull off some really cool stuff that I don't think you can do in other games, and even just moving around the map fluidly feels great. But like any drugs that kids do these days, it can be abused and misused, and this is especially true for the new players, I think, who don't have a concrete understanding of how to best use movement in this game. There's a lot of monkey see, monkey do type of learning going on with this, I think, and let me say there are no shortages of monkeys to learn from in Gears when it comes to movement. Some people bounce like you wouldn't believe, and I often ask for what, and that'll be kind of the crux of my criticism, but let's get into this topic more in depth. So the way I see it, the purpose of movement is obviously, one, to get around the map efficiently, and the second purpose is to evade enemy players who, when things get heated. But there's been a third purpose invented by the Gears community, namely to get featured on So You Think You Can Dance. Now, obviously, I'm just joking around here, so don't get me wrong. There are some incredible wall bouncers or players who use tons of small, detailed movements with success in this game. But I think there's also some players who go way overboard with their movement, and I take issue with this because if new players see players going wild, they'll think that that's what they have to do to succeed in this game. And just to provide the obvious counterpoint, you can totally play this game however you want. So if you want to bounce like crazy, go ahead. I honestly don't, it doesn't bother me. But my videos are intended to help people improve. So the message I'm trying to give here is going to be to move with purpose. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, everything is good in moderation, and let me say that's also true with movement too. Whether or not you've noticed in my gameplay, I often reserve fast-paced wall bouncing for situations where I'm outnumbered or where I get close to dying. And the reason for this is because you need that unpredictability for getting out of those types of situations. But I do think there's a trade-off. You sacrifice accuracy a lot of the time, you divert your attention away from surroundings because you're getting so caught up with your movement. Maybe you're insanely good and this isn't true for you, but I can say it's true for me, and I'm willing to bet that it is true for many other players too. Now, when I'm in control of situations or I know my team has numbers, I'll often slow down my movement and barely even bounce. And that's because I know I'm usually safe in those types of situations and all I have to do is focus on closing out a kill or closing out a round. Instead of moving like crazy, I focus on my aim, or I put my thinking cap on to figure out how I'm going to cut off a player or anticipate what it is they are going to do. Let me say personally that the players that scare me the most online are the ones that slow down and say execution when they have numbers. Or when they think they have control of the situation. The excessive wall bouncers don't scare me, and they shouldn't for you either. As flashy and intense as it may look, it's often not an issue to take out those players with weapons that aren't close quarters, or just by letting them play into you. Once again, there's always going to be exceptions, but generally speaking, I would stand by what I said. I think there's this tendency for players, sometimes when they see crazy wall bouncers, they'll go and try to mimic them and get into these ridiculous shotgun fights, and at that point, I honestly, personally, a lot of the time, I think it just comes down to this kind of 50-50 luck of the draw type deal. It's very hard to control those types of situations. So now I'm just going to place myself in the shoes of a new player. If you watch YouTube videos of montages or whatever, you'll often come across flashy wall bouncing that leads to some crazy kills. It's very entertaining, so let me be clear, I'm not bashing that stuff, but it's not necessarily the best way to play if you're like me and you play to win. Even when you're online, you've probably been in lobbies where there's that one kid who won't stop bouncing. I've literally been in matches where I see a player wall bounce side to side on literally 2 walls like 20 times as fast as he can, and then he continues running off. if you are watching this video, do me a favor and chainsaw those people if you see them and tell them that I said hi. On a side note, the chainsaw is actually a pretty good counter to take out these types of players. But anyway, the player I was just talking about has really done nothing except waste his time. You can gain more ground if you aren't focused on flashy wall bouncing. Even when you're in a shotgun fight, wall bouncing isn't always the best option. Sometimes landing good shots with a modest strafe will leave you better off. The point I'm trying to make here is that people who excessively wall bounce usually aren't adding anything to the quality of their gameplay, except for style points, and guess what? Style points don't really count for anything at the end of the match. Once again, if that's how you enjoy the game, all the power to you, bounce as much as you want and ignore this commentary. I honestly think that's fine, but if you're a new player and you want to improve, make sure that you move with purpose. Don't be intimidated by wall bouncers. Yes, it's a very difficult skill to master, and yes, it can get you out of some sticky situations, but it's not a necessary requirement for excelling at this game. And good wall bouncing done in moderation comes with time. It's not something that you're just going to be masterful at when you pick up the game for the majority of players. So when you watch my gameplay, keep in mind that my goal with moving is always connected with what I'm trying to accomplish. For example, you'll see me sliding into cover a lot to get around the map faster at the start of matches. When I'm outnumbered or weak, you'll see me start to really wall bounce a lot faster. And when I want to lay down shots but get around corners, you'll see me roll a lot. I love to roll. On another side note, there's nothing wrong with rolling. It doesn't make you a noob, unless you literally roll into, say, somebody who has a boom shot or something. But if you make that boom shot player kill himself, you're actually a hero. So, yeah. Sorry, sometimes I try to be funny. I know my commentaries are often too serious. I suppose that's just my style. But just as a final word, I focus a lot on wall bouncing for movement, but there's a heck ton more to movement in this game than just that. Strafing, rolling, and roadie running come to mind right away. So just think of what those movement options can do for you and figure out what you should be using or how you should be using them in certain situations, because all of those options are important. Bottom line though, especially for you new players, do not worry about excessive wall bouncers. Do not think you have to be good at wall bouncing to succeed at this game. Do not excessively wall bounce yourself, and above all, move with purpose. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this commentary, and I look forward to reading your comments in respect to movement. If you disagree with my outlook on movement, that's completely okay, and I look forward to seeing things from your point of view. Just please be respectful in the comments when you share your view. I already had a couple death threats from my Nasher rant, and I'm running out of body bags here, people. So everybody just relax, calm down. Finally, I just want to say that I hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Even if they aren't all active, I'll be making a video on that soon, but definitely am appreciating the support that's being shown on this channel, especially since I disappeared for a good 4 years and just kind of showed up. So, like a bad parent. Okay, I think that was kind of funny. That was off the cusp. Great joke. 10 out of 10. Anyway, I'll be putting out a video, like I said, for 3K soon. I'll probably be doing a Q&A, which will be a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. This round that you're watching is crazy. Definitely recommend you see it all the way through, but if not, thanks for listening.
I owe you one!